Hi dear, and welcome back to Timeless Wisdom. Let me ask you, have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling smaller than when you first sat down? Maybe someone interrupted you before you finished your thought, or rolled their eyes, or used that certain tone that makes it clear they don't value your words or your presence. We all know that feeling. It's that sting that lingers long after the moment has passed, making us question ourselves. As the years go by, it can sometimes feel like people forget how much respect and attention we deserve. After all, we've spent a lifetime learning, growing, and giving so much of ourselves. And yet, it's easy to feel overlooked or dismissed. But here's the truth I want you to hold on to today. Getting older doesn't mean you fade into the background. In fact, every year brings you more wisdom, more clarity, and, if you let it, more strength to protect your peace and set healthy boundaries. Our value doesn't diminish, it grows, and so does our ability to decide how we allow others to treat us. If life has taught me anything, it's that not everyone will treat you with kindness or respect. But you always have a choice in how you respond. You can't control their behavior, but you can absolutely control your own reaction. So in today's episode of Timeless Wisdom, let's talk about 5 real, practical ways you can handle people who don't show you the respect you truly deserve. These aren't about raising your voice, creating drama, or trying to win someone over. Instead, they're about finding and using that quiet strength within you, that steady, unshakable confidence that says, I know my worth. Whether you're dealing with family, friends, or strangers, these tools will help you carry yourself with dignity, grace, and self-respect every single day. Let's get started. Let's begin with something surprisingly powerful. You don't need to shout to command attention. Sometimes the most impactful response is silence. Yes, silence, but not just any silence. I'm talking about the silent stare. Now you might be thinking, really, just looking at someone? But hear me out. Picture this. You're in a conversation. Someone's cutting you off, dismissing your words like they don't count. Instead of jumping in to defend yourself or trying to talk over them, you stop, you take a breath, and you look at them calmly, steadily. No expression, no words, just presence. What happens in that moment is powerful. Most people are used to getting a reaction when they're rude. They expect frustration. They want to fluster you. But when they're met with your stillness, when you just hold their gaze, something shifts. They suddenly have to sit with their own behavior without realizing it. You've taken back the control of the conversation. You're not angry. You're not apologizing. You're simply standing your ground, quietly and firmly. I remember doing this once during a meeting. Someone kept cutting me off, trying to dominate the discussion. I stopped talking, leaned back, and just looked at him. No words, just stillness. 5 seconds passed. He started to fidget. His voice faltered. Everyone else in the room turned toward him, waiting. And then, just like that, he stopped. And from that moment on, he treated me differently. Not because I shouted, but because I didn't. This small gesture, this silent stare, speaks volumes. It says, I'm not playing your game. It says, I won't lower myself to your level. And most of all, it says, I know my worth. Now, let's take that idea of silence one step further, because it's not just the stare. Sometimes the most powerful response to disrespect is no response at all. I want you to think about a time when someone made a snide comment, maybe pretending it was a joke, or they threw a little dig your way, hoping to get a rise out of you. What did you do? Did you explain, defend, laugh nervously? I've done all those things too, but the truth is, the more we explain, the more we engage, the more power we give them. So here's something different to try. Just let it go. Don't answer. Don't explain. Let their words hang in the air and fall flat. Give them nothing to feed on. There's something so dignified about choosing silence. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. Because when someone disrespects you, they're fishing for control. But when you say nothing, when you simply let their words dissolve into the space between you, you take away the only thing they really wanted, your energy. I once had a colleague who loved to make little jabs, always in public, always with a smile. One day, he said something clearly meant to embarrass me. I turned to him, met his eyes, raised one eyebrow and said absolutely nothing, just silence. And it was amazing. He didn't know what to do. The silence got louder with every second. He looked away, mumbled something. That was the last time he tried that with me. The beauty of silence is that it creates space, space for you to breathe, to stay calm, and most of all, to decide how you want to respond, if at all. It's a choice, not a surrender. You're not avoiding conflict, you're choosing peace. And let's face it, at this point in our lives, peace is precious. We don't need to explain our choices to people who never plan to understand us in the first place. Which brings me to something deeply important. Stop explaining your life to people who aren't listening. With love, you know the ones I'm talking about, the ones who always want to know why. Why didn't you come to the party? Why are you living alone now? Why did you retire so early or so late? Why don't you visit more? Here's the truth. You don't owe them anything. Your decisions are yours. You've lived enough, learned enough, and earned enough wisdom to make your own path. You don't need permission. You don't need approval. The next time someone questions your choice, whatever it may be, try this simple phrase. Because that's what I felt was right for me. That's it. No explanation, no defense, just calm confidence. That one sentence is a wall of self-respect they can't climb. I used to give people the whole story, hoping they'd understand. I'd talk about what led me to this decision or that. I'd lay it all out, just to be second-guessed anyway. But the moment I stopped explaining, something shifted. I started living for me, not for their validation, and it felt like freedom. You see, people often question our choices, not because they care, but because our decisions make them uncomfortable. Maybe you're doing something bold they never had the courage to do. Maybe you're simply choosing differently, and that unsettles them. But that's their discomfort to carry, not yours. And here's something no one tells you. The more confident you are in your choices, the less you need to talk about them. True confidence is quiet. It doesn't beg to be understood. It simply walks its own path, head held high. Confidence, real confidence, doesn't need to make noise. It doesn't need to convince or compete. And the beautiful thing is, it's something you can grow at any age, not by doing more, but by doing less. Less explaining, less defending, less giving away your peace just to keep someone else comfortable. Now let's take all of that, the silence, the unshakable calm, the quiet confidence, and put it into action in a way that protects your space entirely. One of the most powerful things you can do when people don't treat you with respect is to simply keep your distance. I know this might feel a little uncomfortable at first, especially if you were raised, like many of us, to be nice, to be patient, to keep the peace, even when it's costing you your own. Maybe it's a family member, a long-time friend, or someone from your community who just keeps crossing the line. Small comments, dismissive behaviour, or even subtle control that chips away at your self-worth. And still, you might find yourself thinking, but we've known each other for so long, or they don't mean any harm, or worst of all, maybe I'm just being too sensitive. But here's the truth. Your feelings are real, and your peace is worth protecting. Keeping your distance isn't about cutting people off or creating drama. It's about quietly adjusting how close they're allowed to stand. Not physically, but emotionally, mentally, energetically. It's like rearranging the furniture of your life. Not everyone needs a seat in your front row. There was a time when I kept someone close out of loyalty, a friendship that went back decades. But every time we spoke, I'd leave the conversation feeling smaller. They'd always have something to critique, something to belittle, sometimes in a joking way, other times not even bothering to hide it. And I'd make excuses. That's just their way. I'd tell myself they don't mean it. But one day, after another lunch that left me exhausted and a little sad, I realized I didn't have to keep doing this. I didn't owe anyone the right to wear me down just because we had history. So I didn't make a scene. I didn't send a dramatic message. I simply began to pull back. Less frequent calls, fewer invitations, more space. And with that space came clarity. I saw how much emotional effort I had been spending trying to please someone who wasn't ever really listening. The distance didn't just protect me. It helped me remember who I was without their voice in my head. This is your permission, if you need it, to do the same. To take a step back from anyone who doesn't see your value, whether they're family or not, whether they've been in your life for decades or just showed up recently. Distance is a boundary you don't have to explain. Now, sometimes people might call you cold or distant for doing this. They might say you've changed. And you know what? Good. You have changed. You've grown. You've learned what you will and won't tolerate. That's not selfish. That's strength. And here's where a powerful mindset comes into play. It's about focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, your choices, your actions, and letting go of what you can't, like other people's reactions, opinions, or disrespect. Creating distance doesn't mean you wish someone harm. It simply means you're choosing peace over chaos. That's powerful. That's grace. Let's sit with that for a moment, because it's big. You are allowed to create a life that feels good, to live one that isn't built around avoiding conflict or absorbing criticism, but around joy, rest, and people who genuinely care for you. And when you do find yourself face to face with someone who disrespects you, whether by accident or on purpose, there's one final move that brings all of this together. And it doesn't require silence or distance. It requires posture. It requires presence. It's about holding your head high. Now, I know that might sound like the simplest thing in the world, but have you ever noticed how your body responds to disrespect? The shoulders drop, the gaze lowers, the voice softens. It's almost instinctive, like we want to make ourselves smaller, to disappear, to avoid becoming a target. But here's what I want you to try. The next time someone belittles you, interrupts you, questions your choices, or tries to make you feel less than, don't shrink, don't slouch, don't lower your eyes. Do the opposite. Lift your chin. Stand tall. Look them in the eye. Because here's what that body language says, without you ever opening your mouth: I know who I am, and I'm not afraid to take up space. Confidence unsettles people who rely on intimidation. Your calm, collected presence disrupts their assumptions. They expect you to stumble, to second guess, to retreat. But when you stay steady and composed, when you smile gently and stand tall, they're left with their own discomfort, not yours. And I want to be clear, this isn't about pride or ego. It's about dignity. You've spent your life learning, loving, growing. You've earned the right to walk into every room, every conversation, with your head held high. That's not arrogance. That's self-respect. I used to let little comments get under my skin. I'd replay them for hours, wondering what I should have said, how I could have defended myself better. But then I started practicing something so simple, so steady. Posture, not just of the body, but of the spirit. Shoulders back, chin up, a deep breath before I speak. A quiet strength behind every word. And it changed everything. People started treating me differently, not because I demanded respect, but because I radiated it. The moment you stop trying to prove yourself is the moment people start realizing they can't shake you. And yes, there will always be people who don't like that. People who are threatened by confidence, especially in someone they expected to stay small. Let them be uncomfortable. Let them feel what it's like to be around someone who knows their worth. Because at the end of the day, that's what all of this comes down to. You set the tone, you define the standard, and you don't need to justify, explain, or shrink to fit anyone's idea of who you're supposed to be. Keep standing tall. Keep protecting your energy. Keep choosing your peace over their noise. It's a quiet kind of power, isn't it? When you stop bending to opinions that don't matter, when you no longer explain every choice, respond to every insult, or carry the weight of someone else's judgment. And when you carry yourself with calm confidence, even in the face of disrespect, something beautiful happens. You begin to feel lighter, not because the world changes, it rarely does, but because you do. You stop giving away your energy. You stop letting others shape your worth. And in doing so, you reclaim your peace, something no one else can give or take away without your permission. That's a powerful realization, and it becomes even more meaningful as we get older. You've likely spent years, maybe decades, navigating relationships, responsibilities, and reactions. And maybe now, finally, you're realizing that you don't need to play every game, attend every argument, or explain yourself to people who've already decided not to understand you. So, let's return to that core idea. What do we do when someone doesn't respect us? You pause. You go still. You pull back. You rise up. And above all else, you remember who you are. Because here's the truth. Self-respect isn't loud. It doesn't shout. It doesn't try to convince anyone of its value. It simply is. And the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. At first, silence may feel uncomfortable. Distance might feel lonely. Standing tall might feel unfamiliar. But with time, they start to feel like home, like peace. And as you build that peace, you'll notice something remarkable. The people who once tested your limits will begin to back off. The ones who disrespected your boundaries will start realizing they no longer have access to you, not because you made a scene, but because you changed the locks quietly, firmly, without needing to explain why. And in that space, in that quiet new people will begin to enter. People who see you, people who listen, people who lift you up rather than pull you down. Because that's the beautiful thing about self-respect. It attracts what you deserve and filters out what you don't. Now, I want to say something, especially for those of you who've been told you're too sensitive, too distant, or too proud. Those words often come from people who benefited when you doubted yourself. Let that sink in. You being unsure, apologetic, small, that served someone. But your strength? That challenges them. Your clarity? That unsettles them. Your boundaries? They might call them cold, but they are in fact warm invitations to peace. And peace is a choice. It doesn't always come easy, but it does come when you make space for it. So, if you've spent years giving away your time, your energy, your patience to people who didn't treat you well, it's okay to stop. It's not too late to change the rules, not out of anger, but out of care for yourself. You're allowed to let go of conversations that go nowhere. You're allowed to walk away from relationships that weigh you down. You're allowed to protect your space like it's sacred, because it is. So the next time someone talks over you, looks through you, or brushes you aside, take a breath. You don't have to correct them. You don't have to prove anything. You don't even have to reply. Just stand tall. Let the silence speak. Let the moment pass without giving it your peace. And when the voice in your head says, "But won't they think I'm rude? Won't they be upset?" Remind yourself, their reaction is not your responsibility. Your only job is to protect your energy and your joy. You've come this far, and you've seen enough of life to know what matters, what lasts, what lifts. You didn't get to this stage by accident. You earned every scar, every smile, every boundary. So live like it, walk like it, speak or choose not to, like it. Let this be the season of your life where you stop managing other people's comfort and start honoring your own truth. You are not here to be liked by everyone. You are here to live honestly, peacefully, and with intention. And just in case no one's told you lately, you deserve to be respected simply for being you. Not because of what you've done for others, not because of what you give, not because of your patience or your politeness or your ability to take it. You deserve respect because you are a human being with worth. No explanation needed. If something in this video spoke to you, let yourself sit with it for a while. Don't rush to push the feeling away. Sometimes the best wisdom takes a little time to truly settle in. Maybe the next time someone oversteps or makes you doubt your worth, you'll remember. You don't have to react or defend yourself. You can simply pause, take a steady breath, and let your quiet confidence say everything that needs to be said. I'd really love to hear from you. Have you ever faced a moment where you weren't given the respect you deserve? How did you handle it? Or what do you wish you'd done differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. On Timeless Wisdom, this space is for all of us to share, learn, and uplift each other as we grow. If today's message brought you a sense of comfort or clarity, it would mean so much if you'd give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Timeless Wisdom. We've got so much more coming, more inspiration, more practical tips, and more gentle reminders to help you protect your peace, build real confidence, and live a life that truly honors who you are. Remember, it doesn't matter how many candles are on your birthday cake. It's never too late to stand tall, to use fewer words, and to live with intention. Your wisdom and strength are hard-earned, and you deserve to move through this world with your head held high. Give yourself the same respect you give others, because that is what truly transforms everything. Thank you for being here with me today. Keep taking care of your heart, keep honoring your truth, and keep moving forward with gentle strength. The world may not always recognize your worth, but you can. And that's what really matters. With gratitude and encouragement from all of us at Timeless Wisdom, see you in the next video.